All right, T. Another one, man. I'm super excited. Season 3 is underway, and in the new podcast studio here at the Jack's Chamber. Super cool to be a part of this.
Pretty amazing when you think about all the work that's gone into this and the sacrifices that were made so that we could have our own little studio.
I was going to tell you, we do have an American flag in here. It's just pretty cool for me because it actually flew over City Hall whenever I was city council president. And so I've had that for a long time at my house and really didn't have any place to put it. So it's pretty cool.
It's a perfect place to display it.
And our guest today is, I would say he's a dear friend. I just happened to work with him at the chamber, and he, in my mind, is one of the smartest people in the room today between me and you.
Oh, by far. That's not even a debate.
Not even close. But Dr. Carlton Robinson has been at the chamber ever since I've been here, and we started off as colleagues working together and have grown it into just a strong friendship. I mean, I love this dude. I love his family. I think what he brings to Jacksonville and to the chambers is super good for our community. He's our chief innovation officer and is always thinking of new things to do to bring innovation to the chamber. So Carlton, honored to have you on Speakeasy Jacks, bro.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. So we do start Speakeasy with a drink, and I know that you're a tequila connoisseur. And how did you end up on tequila, bro?
It started with my dad and I. I mean, we celebrate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, something on the job, anything. We celebrate a lot. And we started with, just quality whiskey and bourbon, Whistle Pig, and just really having a good time and making sure we're celebrating life.
Mm-hmm.
And so weekends, different trips. There was a time we were having a really, really nice drink, and I told him I was disappointed. And obviously telling your dad that you're disappointed in him and something, it was kind of a little bit of a shock. And I just talked about all the years of drinking cheap whiskey and liquor and getting sick sometimes and spending a lot of money on just cheap. And, he just laughed. I laughed, and I said, it would have been nice to just understand that if you just go big with the alcohol, it's much better and you get to enjoy it. And so one weekend we decided to try an aged tequila, and it was Tears of Your Honor. And I'd never had it. My dad never had it. And they brought it, and it was pretty expensive. And we had one sip, and you just kind of, it hits the palate just right. And we're like, wow, this is good.
It's like life's too short.
Yeah,
like you don't smoke a cheap cigar. Do not have cheap tequila. It's too good to enjoy with your friends.
Yeah. So from there we started testing as many extra añejos as we could, and some reposados, and then we just developed a really good palate for quality tequila, and that's our go-to drink.
So your dad is in on the tequila as well?
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, my mom doesn't like that. She's like, he's too old to be drinking tequila. But we do sneak out and we'll have a nice drink.
So remind me again, what's the difference between the Blanco, the Reposado, and the Añejo?
So the Reposado and the Añejo, it's based on how long they're aged.
Okay.
So the Añejo and Extra Añejo age 3 to 5 years. So Tears of Your Honor, they have a limited number of bottles that they make each year. And, but it's good.
Yeah. And then like the Blanco is just kind of, when they distill it, that's what you get.
Yeah.
That's my go-to is the Blanco. I don't like the heat behind the other two, but every once in a while I'll sip some with Daniel. But isn't it funny how people correlate tequila and just wild times? You don't really think about it as a sipping type drink because a lot of people party, get drunk with it. So it's interesting that people have that connotation when it comes to this, and I really just enjoy sipping it.
Yeah, we definitely sip our tequila.
Yes.
You're not doing shots.
No,
No, this is not shot tequila.
no, sir. I do not do that. And I've tried to explain to my kids why we don't do shots.
Right.
So, well, with that, I got to try this añejo out because I know it's going to be really good.
Yep.
Cheers, bro. Glad to have
Cheers. Cheers.
you on. Mm-hmm. It's just like I remembered it. Super good.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is your favorite tequila?
Tears of Your Honor.
Well, I don't
sense.
think I've had it. I don't think I've had that.
We'll have to change that.
Yeah.
What would you? Where do you think that ranks with a Clase Azul?
Tears is number one.
Oh, okay.
Tears is
Well,
number
I got to try that then.
Clase Azul, which they have a range of Clase Azul. I think there's like 4 main bottles.
Mhm.
Of course, you got to ring the bell
Yeah.
with Clase Azul, so there's that. But Tears is my number one.
Nice. So, you good? You want to?
Good.
Okay. So I know you've had a chance to check out Speakeasy, and it's the idea that there are thousands of small business owners in Jacksonville who know who Carlton Robinson is when they see him behind a podium or up on a stage or at an event with our entrepreneurs at the chamber, but they don't know the story. They don't know who Carlton Robinson is. And so do you mind if we jump into that? I'd love to hear what I've heard a little bit of your story, but can you mind letting the listeners know what it was like growing up in your house?
Yeah. Obviously, born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. Very humble beginnings. I thought I was a great athlete.
He is a great athlete. What are you talking about?
However, it was just growing up really, really competitive. And, 7th grade, I tried out for basketball and I didn't make it. And I didn't make it past the first cut. Like when I walked in, they just kind of looked at me and they were signaling the door. So I knew at that point that I would never be a basketball player, but I was a pretty good athlete. And my parents, my mom was very protective, didn't want me to play football. And so it was very frustrating. And then I did get a chance to play in high school and was able to earn a scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan to play football. And I would say through high school and college, probably the most impactful thing that happened for me was working at Subway Sandwiches and Salads. I was the number one sandwich artist in St. Petersburg.
Sandwich artist,
Yes.
by the way.
Did they do an award for that, or was that self-proclaimed?
They wrote an article on me. Of course, I guess I'm dating myself because I can't find the article. But they wrote an article about kids working in the summer and
Right.
what it meant to have a job. And it was just really, really great. It was the number one Subway in St. Petersburg, highest volume. And Ed and Dottie Ziegman took a chance on me. I started working there when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
How did you, so did you sneak your way in? Did you just walk in like as a customer and say, I'd like to work for you? How'd you meet them? Yeah.
It started out, I was actually helping out a relative that was working there as the assistant manager. So I would always come in and just help out. And I think they paid me, a few bucks here and there, but I got to eat sandwiches for free and drink as much Coke as I wanted. So
What more could you ask
it
for
was awesome,
as a 14-year-old? Yeah.
But that's how I got started. And then from there, just consistency and working hard. And they'd say, you're here, but as long as you don't work over 20 hours, you can have a job.
Okay.
And so I started at $3.35 an hour.
That's big money back then though, man. You
Well, yeah. I used to always calculate how many hours I had to work to get to $100. So that was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
But that was such a big foundation for me and who I am today, and shaping some of my leadership skills. So I was a teenager having to work with people who were older. Learned a lot about commitment, lack of commitment, what drives people. And probably the most important thing was, just understanding how to communicate to different types of people. An older, more experienced person really doesn't want to listen to a teenage kid trying to give them instructions. So I had to learn how to be strategic, maybe do things myself instead of asking them, until I grew into, more of I'm saying a leadership role, but it was just because the owners loved me and everybody knew, okay, we have to listen to him. And I think
you were the number one sandwich artist in St. Petersburg. So, that's kind of
documented
authority
in the paper.
Well, one of the ways that you earn that is by working Friday and Saturday nights till 2 and 3 in the morning. You kind of see some things at 2 and 3 in the morning. And then during the days, I worked every Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday all through high school. If I didn't have a track meet or football game, I worked. And I loved working. It was just an awesome thing. And so that really helped me build, work ethic and learning how a business runs. So these were 2 small business owners. And so inventory, understanding, customers, understanding what the peak times were, how to schedule when times were, not very good, identifying what types of people to hire. I didn't realize it at that time, but I was learning all of those things. And I worked for Subway for 9 years. So all the way through college.
Great experience.
All the way through high school. And I would not trade that experience for anything in the world.
Do you think that's where you became passionate about being an entrepreneur or helping entrepreneurs? Because you're an expert in that field and people that know you know that, but where did that come from, that desire to really, tap into that particular area of expertise?
I would say that I did not start out with the entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay.
I just started out working hard and kind of understanding how business works. Like you can have the best plans, the best strategy, and things just don't work out for you. And you've got to pivot a little bit. And so I saw that a lot, working at Subway. And then, sometimes you have the best people and life happens.
Right.
And you lose really good people. How do you rebound for that? How do we find, the next person? How do we hire in advance? So working at Subway, I learned very, very early on as I was going through college. It's like people are extremely important and you have to learn how to, hire the best and be really good at developing people. And then almost anything is possible.
Yep.
So do you think that, did your mom and dad say, you got to go get a summer job? Like my kids, every summer they're working something, and because we wanted to create the work ethic at our house. What were your mom and dad like? And you have a brother.
Yep.
You have one brother, right?
So my parents divorced when I was like 7.
Okay.
They each had a son and daughter.
Okay.
Growing up, and I would say the motivator was I didn't want to be at home because my mom was like, if we were at home, we were cleaning and doing all of these things around the house. And I was like, I don't want to do this all day.
Might as well get paid to work.
Exactly. Exactly. So that was kind of the start of it is, one, wanting to have money. And then 2, I just loved working. And it was a great environment, meeting lots of people, different people. And I would say, working at Subway is very similar to the chamber for me because you have all of the people that are like the regulars in our family. And then we have an opportunity to have more people kind of coming into our space on a regular basis. We always have an opportunity to meet more new and great people. And so those are 2 things that are very, very similar for me with working at Subway and then, now working here at the chamber.
So when did you start getting or seeing success on the football field? And what was that? Who were you playing for in Tampa? What high school team?
So the high school was Boca Ciega and just a lot of really, really good athletes. But I was young, so I was competing against people that were always 2 years older than me. And there were a lot of days I came home and I just like looked in the mirror and I was like, why am I not good enough? I was like, okay, I'm going to do all this extra work. And, with guys, their bodies mature at a different time. So if you're young, you're probably not maturing until junior year, almost senior year. And some of these guys, they're just older and they were better. I mean, they were just better. So I would say my junior year is when things started to kind of turn for me in football and track and as an athlete.
And what position did you play?
Defensive back.
Okay.
Yeah, defensive back.
Did you love lighting people up?
Sometimes. It hurt. It hurt.
Were you more of the cover corner?
I was definitely cover corner, but what I liked about football was the strategy, right? So down, distance, personnel, just kind of learning that, and that was the biggest thing for me. And I think football was also the place where I started being more strategic, just about life in general, thinking ahead and preparing. And so I did like getting a big hit here and there, but I preferred
to avoid the hit.
To avoid the hit. I was a great ankle tackler.
That's where you learn to make business decisions, right? And when to put your body on the line and when to let somebody else do it. Did you have any kind of inspiration, like an athlete that you looked to, like a prime time, like Deion Sanders or somebody like that?
If I'm being honest, in high school, I was just focused on having an opportunity to go and play in college and, leave St. Petersburg. Like a lot of kids, it was like, you're going to use your scholarship to create an opportunity for yourself to go and do something bigger, better. And so it didn't really matter. And at that time, I think Deion Sanders was only a few years ahead of me.
Okay.
And so, I mean,
he wasn't really. Yeah.
No, I was not following any particular athlete. It was more about, using sports as an opportunity to create a better life for myself in future.
I've had a chance to watch your kids on the court and in different athletic situations. They are athletes. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah. So my wife and I moved here May of 2000. And
how'd you guys meet?
So my wife and I met at a friend's wedding.
Okay.
And we were both in the wedding. I always say she moved here for me, but they a group of her and her friends were already moving to Florida, and where they moved to in Oldsmar, I was living about 40 minutes away.
Okay.
So we meet at the wedding, and then a couple months later, they moved down. We start dating. And at the time, I was working for Wells Fargo. So I worked there for about 9 years. And we got relocated to Jacksonville.
Okay.
The couple who we met at their wedding lived here in Jacksonville. So in January of 2000, we came up. Y2K was a hoax, so we just partied.
Remember that? That's wild. That was
we just partied, and then I got an opportunity. Like in that March, they said, "Hey, there's a promotion opportunity in Orange Park, Florida," and I was like, "What is Orange Park?" And so I took that opportunity, and I thought we'd move here for about maybe 3 years. I kill it, and then we move back down to Tampa. But here we are 26 years later.
It's crazy.
This is home. And my kids, we've been in Clay County the entire time. And I decided that as an athlete, I would try to teach my kids to be a better athlete than I was. A better athlete, better student, better everything. And, we started when my daughter was 5. Doing all different types of basketball. I got a chance to coach him at the YMCA, which was amazing, volunteering. And, all 3 turned out to be better than me in different ways. And I'm super, super happy and proud about that. And so my wife and I, just kind of supporting them through all of the AAU tournaments, the traveling, and, supporting them mentally is a really, really big thing. Mental health is, probably the top thing for kids, especially athletes, because things are tough, and they just need to know that they're supported. And I think it's okay to tell them sometimes, your best is not going to be good enough to get the win or to get a championship. But look at the ride, look at the journey, look how you grew. And so we've been able to experience that. All three kids made it to the Final Four. And most recently, I had my work team to be able to come out and be at the game. Even a few who are not basketball fans enjoyed the game. And so that was just amazing and special to me and my family.
Yeah.
So.
And I got a chance to see your dad and the pride of the family watching. I mean, Bryce is a stud. He's a player, and not just Carlton telling you that his son is good. He's
Right,
really,
you
he's
saw
really
it.
good. Yeah. And to watch the team work through the state playoffs and dominate it was a lot of fun to watch, man. I'm proud to be able to be proud of you and your kids. They're awesome kids.
We appreciate the support, and it was an incredible ride.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
Yep. And so you want to switch over to start talking about the chamber?
Absolutely.
And tell a little bit about what you do here and how you affect a small business in Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I think when I first arrived at the chamber, the goal was a newly created position called the Senior Director of Entrepreneurial Growth. That was a long title.
Long title.
But the goal for the organization, and we depend a lot on volunteers. I was a volunteer before I became an employee. And so the volunteers help give us insight on direction, on things that we're doing well, things that we should consider. And at the time, we were, not recognized as much for our impact on small business, primarily economic development. So this position was to help the chamber become more entrepreneurial. And I had to take an assessment, which I wasn't a big fan of assessments at the time, but they were looking for someone who did not fit the same profile as everyone else. And I definitely hit the mark on that. And so after that, everyone that we hire, I use that same assessment in the process. But our goal was to really identify ways that we could have a higher impact on the entrepreneur and small business community beyond just the things that we do in economic development. So I came on board. I had an idea for a program, and I said I would come on board if you allow me to launch this program. At this time, it was just Carlton's program. And I had told everyone about it for years, that there's this better way. And so I come on board in the first year.
Why would you say it's better? When you think about other chambers, why was your vision better than what you saw in other places?
I would say one, I had experience as a small business owner. So for about 7 years prior to my position at the chamber, I had my own business. First 2 years were tough as hell. You have a plan until, as Mike Tyson says, you get punched in the mouth. Right? And, what about the times that you don't get customers?
Yeah.
The times that you lose a deal because the person doesn't think you're a great communicator. And so I experienced that in the first 2+ years. I didn't make very much money. And at the same time, my family was growing. And so there's a lot of panic that you experience. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I basically built a program based on mistakes that I made. So I wasn't very good at communicating my business model. I wasn't very good at communicating my value proposition. I didn't, look forward and identify different types of personas, and people that we could target. So I took that and decided to kind of create this education model. And I knew that it was better than anything else because everyone else was focusing on the business plan.
Right.
And so I had shopped that for probably 3 or 4 years. And, coming to the chamber, if they would allow me to launch it, was kind of the last ditch effort. And so there was synergy there. First year, didn't get a chance to launch it, thought I made a mistake, thought I was going to leave the chamber. And then, we get a new CEO. I was a little skeptical on the new CEO. a little
I think
skeptical.
everybody was, honestly. The first day I walked in, everybody was looking at me like, I'm a little skeptical with this guy.
But, I got a chance to pitch it
Yep.
to Daniel. And we were in the elevator, which we have a slow elevator here at the chamber. And once we got to the top floor, he said, okay, you earn 5 minutes. So I got a chance to pitch it for 5 more minutes. And I was ready for every question that he asked, except for one. And he's like, if this is so good, why aren't you doing it? And I was like, And so, from there, I think we developed a really good relationship on how we could make this happen, the impact it could have on our members and the impact that it could have on our community. And I think at that time, one of the reasons we had so much synergy is Daniel needed wins as this new CEO, and he was looking for different ways to do that. And I had one. And gave me a lot of latitude and autonomy. And the only thing he said to me is it better work. So that was kind of the only directive. And we went out together talking to CEOs and small business owners and looking for funding. And over time, we were able to put it together, and we've had some amazing success in contributing to our small business community.
And for TJ, it's like, people look at the chamber as like a big business organization, and Carlton and I both committed that small business wasn't going to fall through the cracks with us. And you have to be intentional about that because you're going to focus on the big, fish in the pond.
Right.
And I think that Carlton's program, I'll let him tell you how we named it, but Carlton's program was our way to do that.
Well, I love the fact that it's a practical program that's built on problems that you had as an entrepreneur, and now you're just teaching people how to solve those and think ahead before they experience them.
Yeah.
So it's not just a bunch of head knowledge, it's practical steps they could take to anticipate some of the issues they'll face as entrepreneurs. So I think it's really cool.
So tell them how we named it. It's it's a staple now, but it wasn't the most scientific.
No, definitely not. So I come in and, if you know Daniel, sometimes you're putting all the detail together and it's TMI. Yep. Too much information for him. He's like, okay, you're overselling it. And I'm like, oh okay. So I come in and, I've done my homework on what's called a lean startup and out on the West Coast and, how beneficial it is and how I've weaved all of this into, and he's just kind of looking at me like, okay, you're overselling this thing. I've already told you we're going to do this. What do we need to name it? So we're sitting there, and I'm terrible at anything marketing. That's just not my strength, right? And so we're looking at each other, and we're coming up with all these names. And Daniel looks over his shoulder, and we're just like, okay, it's got to be something Jacksonville. Everything, Jack's Chamber, Jack's USA. And he just kind of looks out. We look at the Main Street Bridge, and Daniel says, what are we doing? We're connecting people and Jack's Bridges. And we just looked at each other, and
that perfect.
That was it.
That was it.
And we were like, we got it. And then I said, now we got to announce it. He goes, we're not ready. I said, we're announcing, and we'll just figure all that stuff out when we get to it.
Yeah. Now there's a funny quick story about the announcing. So at the time, we had someone who was in charge of, marketing and communications, and most of our press conferences were about 25 or so people. So I was like, okay, we're going to have a press conference. I see Daniel, and I leave, come back, and he's like, yeah, we got to make sure we get enough people there. And so I look at the marketing leader, and we can get 30 people. I go downstairs. I see Daniel again. He's like, we need 100 people. Okay, we'll get 100 people. I was terrified, okay, because again, that was not my thing. But we went out and we found the supporters, and I would say that's a big part of the foundation of Jack's Bridges is the support that was cultivated, and then all of the people who have gone through the program feel like, they're a part of something within the chamber, and we just developed a really good brand, and people have been amazing.
You have a lot of people that have gone through the program that stay attached and connected, right? And,
Yes.
and pour back into
Yes.
the program. I think that's one of the coolest parts.
Yeah. I would say one of the things I'm most proud of with Jack's Bridges is in presenting this concept to the board. Originally, it was everyone who came into the program needed to be a chamber member.
Mm-hmm.
And so because Daniel was new, I was new, we presented this as if we can go out and secure sponsorships and grant funding, and we show these participants who their first touch with the chamber a lot of times is Jack's Bridges. But if we can show them a really, really quality program, what the chamber is all about from the perspective of economic development, as they grow, we grow. And so seeing people who come into the program, not chamber members, and then to go to a trustee meeting a year, 2, 3 years later, and I can pick out, 15, 20 people who started out in Jack's Bridges. I just think that is amazing. And obviously, whenever we go out to the councils, there are tons of people that have been in Jack's Bridges, so much to the point that we have not advertised the program since the second cohort.
Wow.
It's all referrals, word of mouth, past participants. And it's just a great story about how we can cultivate a small business and entrepreneurial community and allow people to kind of share their success stories. It's a really big thing.
Just for perspective, can you tell us how many people have gone through the Jack's? Like, what would you have on a yearly basis, and how many people have we helped?
Yeah, so we have 300 applications every 6 months. No advertising. We accept anywhere from 100 to 140 people. And then our retention rate, and this is amazing. If you think about a small business program, our retention rate is about 85%. And we keep them for 10 to 12 weeks. So most programs around the state, they would be happy if they had 20, 25 people in a cohort. So for us to have those numbers in a cohort is amazing. And right now we're in cohort 24.
It's
so
crazy.
2 a year.
Man.
And I think it's an incredible program for our community and something for our Chamber of Commerce to be proud of.
I think it speaks loudly to the fact that the value they receive is such that they're willing to commit, because a lot of these people are starting businesses while they're already working something else, and then they have families, but they're still coming to your program and graduating. So the word's out. If you go through Bridges, you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur most of the time, right?
Yeah, most of the time. And I think one of the things that we really emphasize is you got to be honest with yourself as an entrepreneur. And some of the exercises that we go through, especially around the business model, you're going to look at it and say, what I'm proposing doesn't work.
Yeah.
The next step is, how do we get it to work? What are the conditions that will allow this to be a successful business, or I need to move on? If people decide that they need to move on, that's still a success, because now they're not losing or wasting as much money and resources.
That's a good point.
Really, the whole point of it was to help people. Putting a business plan together doesn't do anything for you. Understanding if your model works, if you're going to be in business in 6 months, or you're going to be out of business because you're selling your widget for not enough, or you need to market a different way, is getting them up front and telling them the hard things, so they went in 6 months, they're growing and not starting something else.
Yeah.
So that really was what caught me on that, why it was different. And but even though we have a very successful program that we're going to be committed to, as long as I'm sitting here and Carlton is sitting here, we're committed to Jack's Bridges and to the entrepreneurs and innovators here in Jacksonville. But that doesn't mean you stay just because we got something great. We're going to stay right here,
right.
And so Really, the reason I wanted to ask Carlton to speak to us today was to say, well, okay, what's the next step?
Yep.
What is the next Jax Bridges? We talked about this about a year and a half ago. Like, it's time. We got to come up with a new what's next for growing economic development in Jacksonville. So why don't you talk to us and talk through what you're thinking?
Yeah. So I think, anyone that's competitive, that's a leader, they're always looking for, a way to be aspirational, to do something that others haven't, or to have an impact, at a very high level. And so a part of Jax Bridges, every cohort, we would get together and identify what worked well, what didn't work, what should we change. The core of the program is still the same, but our delivery, has changed over the years. And I would say, there's probably two ages of bridges. There's pre-COVID and post-COVID. So post-COVID, and when COVID happened, because of our design of the program, we only lost 2 weeks, and we were able to get everyone online. So you got to think about this. In 2020, we were able to get everyone online within 2 weeks. So we were impacting the small business community at a rate that no one else was, because we had the tools and the foresight. From that, we, looked at how could we deliver better? Could we expand the program? But it was just really difficult for us following the lean startup model, because we were bound by humans. Like, there's only one of me. Right. And we had, maybe one or two other people supporting the entrepreneurs. And around 2022, we started experimenting with AI, and how could we use that to make the people who were not me on the team more capable of helping entrepreneurs. And so we experimented that summer with some interns, and the interns actually provided business strategy to existing businesses. Now, the businesses didn't know the interns were doing it.
Right.
It was behind the scenes. But when they got the strategy, they were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I was like, you're right, this is amazing. But they were talking about the strategy. I was talking about the ability
How you got there.
To upskill a person with very little business experience, and to allow us to deliver a different type of value. And so I would say over the next 2 to 3 years, we just really honed in on how we could use AI. And then I think we developed a model that allows us to scale our support. And more than anything else, I think we're the first community to actually advance the lean startup. So something from the West Coast, we believe with AI, we've advanced it, which I think is a really big deal for Jacksonville. When we talk about being an entrepreneurial community, innovation community, I think we have something that puts a stamp on that. The impact of it is that we now have best practices for other chambers of commerce, other economic development agencies to train, educate, and really expand where we can help entrepreneurs. So right now we are in talks with an organization in Atlanta. We are supporting Putnam County. We're supporting St. Johns County. So those are areas that are outside of Duval County, which kind of demonstrate the impact that we've had. So we're super, super excited about what's next, which will all revolve around artificial intelligence.
Now, you mentioned 2022 is when you started working with this. Would you be considered an early adopter of that? Because I didn't pay attention to it till you brought it to us at staff meeting, a year and a half, 2 years ago. But what was AI even like back then, as far as the way you were using it for this purpose?
Yeah, I would say, one of the benefits for me here at the Chamber is, Daniel's leadership ability in terms of cultivating before adopting, right? So Daniel may not be as interested in AI as I am. I'm always looking for cutting edge. What's next? Having the latitude and resources to do that is extremely important in an organization.
Yeah.
And Daniel's given me that opportunity. And more than anything else, I think we can actually present Jacksonville as a community where you can validate things. I mean, we've validated so much around AI compared to other communities that these best practices we have to share, it's amazing. AI itself has been around for decades. Prior to ChatGPT, it was primarily machine learning, supervised learning. So everything before actual AI tools. And
Right.
ChatGPT just kind of accelerated that. So if you had knowledge around that area and you understood the frameworks, there's a lot of things that you could do faster than everyone else. And that just happened to be the case for us here. And we were able to validate a lot of what we've done because we have 100+ people coming into our program every
Right.
6 months. So we try a lot of things in Jack's Bridges, and they'll tell us, this is not good, this is great. And I mean, every iteration of it has just made us better, and it's accepted by actual small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's a case study, right? You're doing
Yes.
It really is like-
real time.
What we're launching has already been tested.
Yeah.
He's been testing this for 2 years. And he came into our leadership team meeting towards the end of last year. And he was very upset about something. And we were all kind of like, man, what's up with Carlton today? And he basically read an article. Business Journal's great supporters of the chamber. We love having them lead in the marketing of businesses in Jacksonville. But there was an article in the Business Journal that he felt wasn't the right view of Jacksonville. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got to where we are today.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah. So the Brookings Institute did research on all of the metropolitan areas throughout the United States, and they identified, 6 levels of AI adoption. And so the bottom level was no AI adoption. Top level was going to be your cities like Boston, Austin, San Francisco. They've got the resources, they've got the companies there. Just above not doing anything at all was what they call the nascent adopter. And that's what they labeled Jacksonville as. Now, I'm thinking we're ahead with what we're doing in entrepreneur support. We've got, companies, here in Jacksonville that have, been AI first for 10+ years. We have several of those companies, but they weren't recognized as a part of the article. And I felt like this was one opportunity for us to be first in some area of AI, not all areas of AI, but we
Right.
could carve out something that we've done here in Jacksonville, especially as an economic development agency. And I just thought this was an opportunity for us to do that. And, I voiced that and it was received.
It was. And so we are launching a new program. It's gonna hit different markets, we believe, in Jacksonville. Talk through that a little bit. Talk about what we're planning for the next couple months.
Yeah. So I think there are 3 main areas that we can use to kind of shape what we want to do with AI. One, we've got great academic institutions and partners, and their role in the community is to provide education. And there's a broad range of education and online orientation. You got high level degrees. So we have the institutions to do that. Where we, lack in terms of offerings is really around applied AI. So we created, an AI apprentice program that we tested on our own team. We tested on the Jack's Bridges participants to tell us, okay, this is great. This is not great. This is really valuable. And we took the best from all of that over a 2-year period. And then we launched an AI apprentice program. And so in our first cohort, we had about 20 or so people. We think that's a program where, 5 2-hour sessions, we can teach you how to engage, identify your workflows. And then we have some real practical use cases that they're able to experience and then take back immediately into their workplace and make a difference. And they all leave with an implementation guide specific to them based on their interaction with AI. So I think that's a big offering for us. We'll have something with policy. And then I think we have to have some type of event/showcase where we're highlighting Jacksonville's AI capabilities.
Yeah.
Now, the people that have gone through applied AI, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
The AI apprentice.
Okay.
program.
AI apprentice program. Are those primarily entrepreneurs? Are they all different levels of organizations?
So I would say of the people that have gone through so far, about 80% are employees. And that's really our focus. So if you think about the workforce and as an economic development agency, the workforce primarily is made up of employees from companies that have less than 100 employees.
Yeah.
That's over 70% of our workforce. And so we have to do a better job as a community of having an offering specific to that group. Well, from the chamber's perspective, that's the heart of our membership.
Right.
So our ability to now have an affordable offering for this stakeholder group to educate and to allow them to learn how to use AI and apply it in a work setting, I think is a real win for our community. But it's something that we have to do as a Chamber of Commerce. And I think that's a message we can share with other chambers across the country in terms of what we do for small business. So with Bridges, we're helping you build it. And with our AI apprentice program, we're helping educate, upskill, gap fill your employees.
I love the connection back to y'all's vision for small business and supporting the small business community. So.
And it doesn't matter if you're a landscaper or if you're an employee at a bank or, you're working in any industry. You could work for government. And the whole idea is we're creating a human-centered AI program. It's not meant to replace a worker. It's meant to make the worker 10 times more efficient and valuable and be able to produce more. And I'm super excited about it because the way he has created all of these programs is it's like a plug and play version. If a company wants us to come out and train their entire staff, we'll go out to them and train the whole staff. If somebody only has 1 or 2 employees, you can send them to one of the cohorts and they can be a part and walk away incredibly valuable.
Right.
So I'm super excited about it. It's our next step, man. I can't wait.
If I could add something extremely important, AI, artificial intelligence, and our approach to AI is significantly different than anyone else across the country. The number one thing is we see AI as a form of economic development. It's more than a tool. It's more than a process. It is economic development for us. And the thing that we have to make sure we're preserving is what's called human agency. Like we're building human infrastructure. Like that's a different part of economic development now that we're in what we call the cognitive age in this 5th industrial revolution. AI as a form of economic development is going to put a lot of pressure on us to preserve human agency. So some of the jobs that we're creating and redefining, how do we maintain the human as a part of that process? If there are 10 steps and today, maybe I'm really good at 7 steps. Can we use AI to help on the other 3? And I can do more within the 7. Those are the types of strategies our businesses are going to be faced with. And so a clear messaging for us as an organization is going to be, 1, we're putting forth resources to build human infrastructure as a part of economic development. And our primary goal is preserving human agency. I just think we're going to hear a lot about that in the coming years. But that's something that as a Chamber of Commerce, we can really lead and help shape that in the business community.
Love that.
Yeah. So, super excited about that. If somebody that's listening would love to get more information or send an employee, how would they do that?
So we have the AI apprentice program listed on our events page at the jackschamber.com. And then we will have additional offerings after our event in April as they relate to policy, which is going to be a really, really big opportunity for our business community, developing charters and internal policy that limits liability as we start to use more AI.
Yeah, because I mean, I was something I learned about is like there's a whole governance side of creating policy for your company to remove liability that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about this. I remember when Carlton first started talking about this, he was trying to get me to download a digital wallet, and I'm like, why do I want a digital wallet? I got my own wallet in my back pocket. But he just kind of shakes his head.
Finally got you to get the chat GPT app, right?
He did. But he's been helping me along the whole way. But the whole idea is to create this environment, showcase what we have in Jacksonville, take that Business Journal article and to flip it on its head, and Business Journal writing a story about the incredible companies that we have in town that are basically setting the standard for tech and AI. And so that's really the goal, and help training the workforce of the future. It's pretty cool, man. So if you were going to say one thing that you loved about Jacksonville, what's the first thing why? I mean, you were going to come here for two months and then move back to Tampa. I mean, and you're here 26 years later. I hear the story all the time about why people they plan on coming here for a little bit, but once they get here, they're like, I'm never leaving this place. What is it for you?
One thing, I would say just the region as a whole, right? And so when we think about Jacksonville, it's, we have a large region beyond Duval County.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you look at, the different areas of town that you could go and have a very unique experience, the development of Riverside. I mean, what's funny is, when we moved here, we moved to Clay County for schools because we knew we were going to have kids. But I always wanted to work downtown. I wanted to work downtown, and I wanted to walk downtown. That was the number one thing. However, when I first joined the chamber, we moved because the chamber was remodeling. I was like, oh my gosh. But we moved out to the south side area near the town center for about 9 months. But when we came back, sometimes I will just walk downtown. I've always wanted to do that. And I think that is a big part of the business community. So for me, that's one of the big things.
Love that.
I met with a company today that's doing a market survey for a name brand of a hotel that we would all know. And they realize what's happening in our downtown. And the young lady I talked to mentioned Tampa and what we've seen happen in the last 8 years, and that all of the same tendencies and realities they had 8 years ago were at that point right now. And they realize what's about to happen with all the, the investment in parks and the new hotels that are coming, the Four Seasons, getting close to the opening and all of the new things that we have. So it's kind of cool to see that we got other people outside going, okay, but let's jump in on this before it gets too big. But now listen, man, I got to tell you, like I mentioned, I love you, bro. I've loved having you here. The tough conversations we've had when you tell me things I don't want to hear, the fun conversations where we make up names and it ends up sticking and it worked, I mean, all of it, makes you really become more than just working together. And I'm so excited about what this AI program is going to do for Jacksonville and for the workforce. And there could be no one better to lead it than you. And so I appreciate you coming on Speakeasy and letting everybody know about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, I was told that normally you guys ask the guests to bring something.
Yeah, you got your picture.
Yep. Well, not necessarily a.
You got a talking point.
Well, what I would say is it's a memento.
Oh, nice.
Of the Jax Bridges program, right? And we give one of these to every participant who completes at least 80% of the program. So not everyone gets one just because you were in Bridges. And so, there are a lot of days that are tough in the work that we do. And I carry this in my pocket every day as a reminder of the good work that we're doing, but also a lot of the adversity that our small business owners and entrepreneurs are overcoming on a regular basis. And whenever I'm out in the community and the business owners have one of these, normally it's for drinks if you don't have one.
Right.
But this is something that I'm very, very proud of. And I think the legacy of this program, the chance that you took on me, is going to live forever. And
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you.